After escaping the Sword Lord's ruins, Ye Xuan returns to Two Realm City wounded, exhausted, and covered in blood. The high-grade Earth-rank martial technique is finally back in the 9th Princess's hands, but the price is far greater than anyone expected. An Lanxiu arrives just in time, and the truth behind Ye Xuan's choice begins to surface. Yet the danger is not over. The powers above have already broken the rules. Kangmu Academy still watches from the shadows. And Ye Xuan's newly fused swords reveal a terrifying strength that even stronger enemies can no longer ignore. Now let us follow the next developments in The First Sword God, Episode 12. The long-haired woman turned and looked at Ye Xuan. This sword is called Lingyu. Because I did not nourish it, it has also fallen from a true sword to a spirit sword. This sword is a pair with the Lanxiu sword. The two swords can fuse and they can also separate. If they fuse, the two swords become one, and their grade can rise by one level. At the highest, they can reach the level of Heavenly Sword above True Sword. Swords need to be nourished. You must constantly increase your compatibility with them. As for how far they can grow in the future, that will depend on you. After saying this, she handed the Lingyu sword and the Lanxiu sword to Ye Xuan. Ye Xuan hesitated for a moment, then accepted the two swords. Holding them, he immediately sensed the connection between them. The long-haired woman smiled softly. Go, Ye Xuan looked at her. Master's wife, will you not leave with me? The woman shook her head. I met him here. It should also end here. After saying this, she touched Ye Xuan's head. In the future, if there is someone you like, then whatever you promised her, you must remember it. Do not break your promise. Ye Xuan did not try to persuade her anymore. He bowed to the long-haired woman, then turned and left the great hall. Inside the hall, the woman turned and gently embraced the wooden figure before her. Then she rested her head on its shoulder. She slowly closed her eyes and never opened them again. Ye Xuan walked outside. He turned and bowed once again toward the great hall. His heart was rather complicated, waiting. He did not know how long the woman inside the hall had waited for that sword lord, but he could be certain that it had been a very long time. Had that sword lord been delayed by something and therefore failed to come? Or had he truly forgotten the woman inside the hall? Ye Xuan did not want to think too much about it. At that moment, the sounds of fighting came again from behind the great hall. Ye Xuan was startled. He quickly put away the two swords and ran over. By this time, quite a few people had gathered behind the palace. Clearly, the battle here had drawn people from other places. Ye Xuan looked around. A figure suddenly stopped before him. It was the 9th princess. Ye Xuan was just about to speak, but the 9th princess grabbed his hand and ran outside. Do not let them escape. That high-grade earth-rank martial technique is in that woman's hands. Ye Xuan heard someone behind them shout angrily. After that, he sensed several people rushing toward them from behind. At the same time, a man and a woman suddenly appeared in front of them. These two were precisely the man and woman who had appeared at the beginning. The man looked coldly at the 9th princess. Leave the item behind. The 9th princess grinned. Come take it. The man lightly stomped the ground. Crack. The ground immediately split open. At the same time, he turned into an afterimage and rushed toward the 9th princess. The 9th princess's lips lifted into a fierce smile. Her right hand seized the golden saber and slashed forward. Whoosh, golden saber light flashed, boom. With the sound of an explosion, both the 9th princess and the man retreated. At this moment, the surrounding people had already rushed over and surrounded Ye Xuan and the 9th princess. Seeing this, the 9th princess's expression became heavy. A high-grade earth-rank martial technique. Its value was already beyond imagination. One had to know that perhaps all of Jiang Kingdom did not even have 10 earth-rank martial techniques. As for high-grade earth-rank martial techniques, even the Jiang royal family did not possess one. Only 1,000-year-old powers like Drunken Immortal Tower and Kangmu Academy had things like that. In other words, the martial technique in the 9th princess's hands was enough to make everyone here lose control. Even if they knew she was the 9th princess of Jiang Kingdom, none of them wanted to give up. Ye Xuan glanced at the people around them. Then he slowly clenched both fists. A terrifying battle intent spread out from his body. Then with hot blood rising through him, he charged toward the man before them. the ninth princess. It had to be said that once Ye Xuan released his battle intent, both his aura and his strength became extremely terrifying. Battle intent. In Qingzhou, anyone capable of comprehending intent could be considered a monstrous genius. Ye Xuan came before the man and threw a punch, collapsing fist. This punch carried both fist force and battle intent. As soon as it was thrown, the surrounding air exploded. The man opposite Ye Xuan narrowed his eyes. He did not dare be careless. He clenched his right hand, then smashed it into the ground. Boom, the ground split open. Countless broken stones shot upward like sharp arrows, covering Ye Xuan. Boom. Those stones were instantly shattered into powder. Ye Xuan appeared before the man and threw another punch. Simple, direct, violent. Before the fist even arrived, the fist force within it had already caused the ground around the man to crack open. The man's pupils shrank. He did not dare receive Ye Xuan's punch directly. Instead, he stomped his right foot and retreated more than 10 jang, widening the distance between them. Ye Xuan did not continue attacking. He retreated to the ninth princess's side and swept a cold gaze across the surroundings. Battle intent surged from him like a tide. Who else? Everyone looked at Ye Xuan with extremely serious expressions. The man and woman also had grave expressions, especially the man. From exchanging blows with Ye Xuan, he had discovered that the power in Ye Xuan's fist far surpassed his imagination. The ninth princess looked at Ye Xuan and suddenly shouted, "Fight, beat them to death." After saying this, she drew the golden saber at her waist. At that moment, Ye Xuan suddenly grabbed her hand and ran. The two of them ran extremely quickly. In the blink of an eye, they had already vanished more than 10 jang away. Everyone froze where they stood. He ran, was he not going to fight? Everyone looked at one another's. A few breaths later, they finally returned to their senses. "We were tricked," someone roared. Then the crowd hurriedly chased after Ye Xuan and the ninth princess. Among them, the man and woman were the fastest, leading the chase. Ye Xuan pulled the ninth princess as he ran. His speed was quite good because his physical body was powerful. While running, the ninth princess suddenly asked, "Were you not going to fight?" Ye Xuan stared wide-eyed. "There were so many of them, we could not win." "So just now you were borrowing the tiger's might." Ye Xuan said seriously, "This is called a strategic retreat." The corner of the ninth princess's mouth curved slightly. "A strategic retreat, very good. But can you let go of my hand now?" Hearing this, Ye Xuan's old face reddened. He quickly released her hand. The two of them were very fast. Before long, they reached the exit. But just as they arrived, both of their expressions changed. A ghost-like afterimage suddenly appeared on the ninth princess's left side. A cold light slashed toward the ninth princess's chest. It was as fast as lightning. At that critical moment, although Ye Xuan was shocked, he still instinctively pulled the ninth princess aside. Then he used his own body to block the cold light. Whoosh, boom. A figure was knocked flying by Ye Xuan's body, but blood also sprayed from Ye Xuan's chest. The ninth princess stared at the wound on Ye Xuan's chest and was stunned. Ye Xuan ignored the wound on his body and looked coldly ahead. He recognized the person who had attacked. It was the black-robed man from before. The man looked at Ye Xuan and laughed coldly. "A hero saving a beauty, you." At that moment, Ye Xuan charged straight toward the man. Rip. A tearing sound rang out in the air. That was the sound of his body tearing through the air as he rushed forward. Seeing Ye Xuan charge at him, the man's face became savage. He suddenly raised both hands, which had been hidden inside his sleeves. Whoosh, whoosh, two black lights shot out. They were two sharp little arrows. Ye Xuan did not dodge and he did not retreat. He allowed the two small arrows to strike his chest. They pierced about an inch into him, then stopped. Seeing this, the black-robed man's expression changed greatly. The martial technique he had prepared was abruptly interrupted. He had not expected Ye Xuan to refuse to dodge. At that moment, Ye Xuan punched him. This punch used all of Ye Xuan's strength. Just the momentum of the punch made the man feel as if his entire body was about to split apart. The black-robed man's expression changed. It was too late to dodge. He could only raise both hands to block. Bang, crack. Both of his arms were broken by Ye Xuan's punch. His whole body was blasted into a stone wall dozens of zhang away. Just as he was about to get up, Ye Xuan appeared in front of him. The man was horrified and quickly said, "I am a prince of Ning Kingdom, if you." Ye Xuan said coldly, "A prince of Ning Kingdom, I do not know you." Then he kicked the man's head, bang. The man's head flew out and blood sprayed. Ye Xuan grabbed the pouch at his waist, then retreated to the 9th princess's side. At this moment the man and woman from earlier had already arrived. Ye Xuan did not hesitate. He grabbed the 9th princess and fled. The man and woman did not give up. They continued chasing, and behind them were 5 or 6 more people. Ye Xuan and the 9th princess ran wildly along the path. Blood continuously flowed from Ye Xuan's chest. His physical body was very strong, but it was not invincible. That black-robed man had at least been in the Skysoar realm. Ye Xuan's ability to use his body to resist the other party's full-powered strike was already extremely terrifying. If an ordinary person had been struck by that blade, his body would probably have been cut in half. Before long, Ye Xuan and the 9th princess stopped again. Because a woman stood not far away in front of them, Baikin. Seeing this woman, the expressions of both Ye Xuan and the 9th princess became heavy. Baikin looked at the two of them and did not waste any words. Her figure suddenly became illusory. Ye Xuan was about to act, but the 9th princess pulled him behind her. Then she stepped forward, drew her saber and slashed, wind-rending. The 9th princess cut down with one saber light flashed, rip. A sharp tearing sound rang out. It was the sound of saber kai cutting through the air. In front of the 9th princess, a green glow suddenly covered the saber kai. A moment of silence followed, boom. An invisible wave of air erupted. The 9th princess retreated to Ye Xuan's side. Baikin also stopped several zhang away. Between the two women, a crack had appeared in the ground. Its bottom could not be seen. Baikin looked at the 9th princess. The world says that the 9th princess is beautiful and capable. I did not expect your saber art to be so sharp as well. It is truly unexpected. The 9th princess looked at her. You have already obtained another treasure. You should know that being too greedy can kill. Baikin smiled lightly. I happen to like high-grade earth-rank martial techniques. At that moment, the group behind Ye Xuan and the 9th princess also arrived. Both Ye Xuan's and the 9th princess's faces completely darkened. The 9th princess glanced at Ye Xuan. What do you think? Ye Xuan looked at Baikin, then looked at the man and woman not far away. After thinking for a moment, he said, I think everyone can sit down and talk. I am very willing to negotiate with all of you. He looked at Baikin and the others. What do you think, everyone? The 9th princess gave Ye Xuan a thumbs up. I admire you. Baikin looked at Ye Xuan and said, I think there is something wrong with your head, Ye Xuan. At that moment, Baikin slowly walked toward Ye Xuan and the 9th princess. The others behind her also walked forward. Clearly, Baikin, the man and woman, and the others had reached a common understanding. They would first deal with these two people. Ye Xuan narrowed his eyes slightly. The Lanxiu sword inside him began to tremble. But at that moment, the 9th princess suddenly rose into the air. Under everyone's gaze, she drew the golden saber at her waist and gripped it tightly. Golden energy and blade intent poured out wildly from her body. Boom, a sky-high pressure appeared. The moment that pressure appeared, Ye Xuan's expression changed. It was far too powerful, almost pressing him down on the spot. Fortunately, after he released his battle intent, he felt much better. Earth-rank martial technique. Not far away, Baikin narrowed her eyes. You are only at the Skysoar realm, yet you dare use an Earth-rank martial technique. As she spoke, she slowly retreated. Earth-rank martial technique. Hearing these words, everyone's expression changed. A martial technique of this level already contained a trace of the power of heaven and earth. Everyone began to retreat. At that moment, the 9th princess descended from the sky. In the next second, countless afterimages appeared around her. Golden saber lights blazed like a scorching sun. When the 9th princess landed, Baikin narrowed her eyes. She lifted one hand, and a green glow containing a terrifying power flew out from her palm. But the instant the green glow touched the saber light, it exploded apart. Seeing this, Baikon's expression changed. She retreated madly, using one strike after another to block the saber lights charging toward her. Elsewhere, the man and woman were also forced to retreat repeatedly. The others were forced back as well. Some were not fast enough, and two of them were directly cut apart by the golden saber lights. At the same time, the ground around them began to split open. For a moment, no one could withstand the ninth princess. Ye Xuan watched in shock. Several breaths later, the ninth princess suddenly appeared in front of him. Ye Xuan said excitedly, "Amazing, too amazing, come on, do it again, cut them all down." The ninth princess looked at him. Then her body softened, and she collapsed into his arms, her head resting against his shoulder. "I cannot cut anymore. Big brother, can we carry out a strategic retreat first?" Ye Xuan, run. Ye Xuan was not stupid. He knew that using an earth-rank martial technique had definitely caused backlash to the ninth princess. Without the slightest hesitation, he lifted her by the waist, carried her on his back, and rushed away. A short while later, when everything gradually calmed down, Baikon looked at the bloody cracks on her right hand. A moment later, she pushed off the ground and instantly chased in the direction Ye Xuan, and the ninth princess had fled. The man and woman, as well as the others, also hurriedly followed. They had already realized that after the ninth princess used the earth-rank martial technique, she had suffered backlash and was now in her weakest state. This was an opportunity they could not miss. A high-grade earth-rank martial technique could become a heritage treasure for countless clans and forces. It could even multiply the strength of a power. Many times, higher realms needed martial techniques and treasures to support them. Not only Baikon and the others, but many people who had received the news also began moving toward the location of Ye Xuan and the ninth princess. As for Ye Xuan, he did not choose to return to Two Realms City. Instead, he carried the ninth princess and rushed into Mang Mountain. After an unknown amount of time, he stopped beneath a huge waterfall. He gently placed the ninth princess down and took off his shoes. Then, with his toes lightly touching the ground, he jumped to the opposite bank and back again without leaving any footprints behind. After observing the surroundings, Ye Xuan carried the ninth princess into a small natural hollow beside the waterfall. Because the waterfall hid it from the front, it was difficult to discover. The hollow was neither large nor small. It was just enough to fit two people. A quarter of an hour later, the sound of rushing wind rang out outside. Ye Xuan's whole body tensed like a fully drawn bow. His expression was grave. The Lanxiu sword was ready to strike at any moment. But soon the people outside left. Ye Xuan breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the person in his arms. The ninth princess's face was pale. There was blood at the corner of her mouth. She looked extremely weak. At a glance, one could tell that she was now unable to take part in battle. Ye Xuan sighed inwardly. It seemed that for the sake of that high-grade earth-rank martial technique, she had truly been willing to risk her life. "You are very smart." At that moment, the ninth princess suddenly opened her eyes. "You knew not to return to Two Realms City." Ye Xuan shook his head. Everyone knew that Two Realms City was her base. If they returned there, it would be the same as seeking death. How could he dare go back? The ninth princess continued, "I need 2 days to recover." Ye Xuan's heart sank. If they were not discovered during these 2 days, that would be fine. But if they were discovered, the situation would become extremely troublesome. After a while, the atmosphere became awkward. The two of them had been soaked by the waterfall while hiding there. The ninth princess's silk robe clung tightly to her body, revealing every curve. She was in Ye Xuan's arms. Certain soft parts of her body happened to press against him, making him feel extremely uncomfortable. Ye Xuan wanted to create some distance, but when he moved, he pressed even closer. Then a certain part of his body reacted. The already awkward atmosphere became even more awkward. Under the ninth princess's fixed gaze, Ye Xuan felt his scalp go numb. He could only smile bitterly. "I am sorry, I did not mean to offend you." To be fair, he truly had no intention of taking advantage of her. But this was the body's instinct, and he could not control it. He was a sword cultivator. But sword cultivators were still human. Not to mention, he was a young man who had never been close to women. Having such a reaction, the first time he was pressed so closely against a woman was normal. If there had been no reaction, that would have been strange. The ninth princess slowly closed her eyes and said nothing. After all, what could she say? The two of them remained in that position for nearly an hour. When night fell, Ye Xuan carried the ninth princess out of the hollow. He still did not return to Two Realms City. Instead, he followed the idea that the most dangerous place was sometimes the safest, and returned toward the Sword Lord's cave residence. Because Ye Xuan had spent much of his life in mountains and forests, even with someone on his back, he ran through the night without much difficulty. About half an hour later, the two returned to the underground palace. Ye Xuan did not enter the great hall. Instead, he brought the ninth princess to a bamboo room behind the hall. Everything inside had already been taken away. Only simple furniture remained. Ye Xuan carefully laid the person on his back on the bamboo bed. Then he took off his outer robe and covered her with it. Rest well, I will stand guard outside. After saying that, he quickly left. The ninth princess silently watched his back. Outside the room, Ye Xuan sat cross-legged and took out a small wooden doll. The face of the wooden doll resembled Ye Lion by about 70 or 80%. He had carved it himself. There was another one carved in his own likeness, and it was currently in his sister's hands. Looking at the little wooden doll in his hand, a faint smile curved Ye Xuan's lips. Then, as if thinking of something, he took out another wooden doll. This one looked like An Lanxiu. Looking at the two wooden dolls in his hands, Ye Xuan's smile became even brighter. Suddenly, he raised his head. A man was walking toward him from not far away. It was the man with hair as messy as a bird's nest, wearing a cloth shirt with a giant axe on his back. Ye Xuan stood up. When the man approached, he glanced at the bamboo room behind Ye Xuan, then walked straight toward it. Seeing this, Ye Xuan stepped forward to block him. The man did not waste words, he simply raised his hand. A torrent of power surged out like a broken dam. The blue stone floor around the two of them instantly turned into powder. Ye Xuan's expression did not change. He responded with collapsing fist. The moment his fist came out, both fist force and battle intent surged together. Boom. After a thunderous explosion, both the man and Ye Xuan retreated. Ye Xuan stopped in front of the bamboo room door. The man retreated 6 or 7 jang. Between the two of them, the ground had been completely torn apart. The man looked at Ye Xuan, battle intent and fist force. Quasi-martial Dao Grandmaster. Ye Xuan slowly clenched his hand. A wave of power instantly enveloped the man. I may not be able to kill you, but I can definitely cripple you. If you dare attack, then even if you obtain that high-grade Earth-rank martial technique, you will die afterward at someone else's hands. Cripple me. The man took the axe from his back. Let me try. Ye Xuan spread his fingers. The Lanxiu sword immediately appeared in his palm, emitting strands of sword light. One sword decides life and death. For the first time, the man's expression became serious. His eyes narrowed. Ye Xuan raised his sword and grinned. Try it, whoosh. The axe in the man's hand flew toward Ye Xuan. It tore open a bright line in the air, and its terrifying power crushed the ground beneath it. Ye Xuan did not retreat, he drew his sword. Sword light flashed. One sword decides life and death. The moment the sword point touched the axe blade, an earth-shaking explosion rang out. The axe trembled violently, then flew back into the man's hand. A small crack had appeared on the axe itself. The man reached out and grabbed it. But the remaining force still pushed him back more than 10 jang. The web between his thumb and index finger on his right hand split open, and fresh blood flowed out. The man looked at that wound. Then he looked up at Ye Xuan, Great Sword Cultivator, Battle Intent. Sword and Martial Dual Cultivation. Ye Xuan thought for a moment and said, Can I owe you a favor? A favor. The man narrowed his eyes and studied Ye Xuan for a long time. Then he put away his axe. Xuoyan of Xuanzong, Great Cloud Empire. Remember this, Sword Cultivator, you owe me a favor. The man's decisiveness made Ye Xuan freeze. He had only meant to buy some time. He had not expected this Xuoyan to truly accept the favor. In truth, Ye Xuan himself did not know that a quasi-sword Dao Grandmaster was someone any force would want to recruit. For some people, making friends with such a person brought only benefits and no harm. When walking the world, forming good relationships was extremely important. Ye Xuan was not only a quasi-sword Dao Grandmaster. He was also a quasi-martial Dao Grandmaster. His value was not inferior to that of a high-grade earth-rank martial technique. Most importantly, Zhuo Yan was not completely certain that he could defeat Ye Xuan. If he insisted on fighting, both sides might suffer losses, and others would benefit. Therefore, he decisively gave up on the martial technique and instead formed a good connection with Ye Xuan. Zhuo Yan left very decisively. Soon he vanished from sight. Ye Xuan lightly rubbed his chin and murmured, "It seems I underestimated my own charm. I actually have some face after all." At that moment, a woman slowly walked over. Ye Xuan raised his head warily. When he saw who it was, his expression sank. Baiken again. Baiken looked at him. "The most dangerous place is the safest place. Your idea is not bad. Unfortunately, you underestimated the attraction of an earth-rank martial technique. The great figures above are already red-eyed with desire." Ye Xuan walked toward her with his sword. "Can I owe you a favor? Owe me a favor?" Baiken smiled softly. "Are you still dreaming, Ye Xuan?" Baiken slowly walked toward him. A faint green light appeared in her right palms. Since entering this place, she had never looked down on anyone, and she had absolutely not looked down on Ye Xuan. No matter who her opponent was, she would use her full strength. Ye Xuan was somewhat helpless toward Baiken, who refused to listen to reason, but he did not waste words. He raised his sword and rushed forward. His attitude was very simple. If they could not avoid the fight, then they would fight. Seeing Ye Xuan attack first, the corner of Baiken's lips curved slightly. Her figure suddenly became illusory. Boom, an explosion rang out. Ye Xuan was forced back to the front of the bamboo room. Baiken remained steadily in place. Ye Xuan's expression gradually became serious. He tightened his grip on the Lanxiu sword. This woman's strength was not ordinary. On the other side, Baiken also put away her relaxed attitude. When experts exchanged blows, they immediately knew the other party's level. That exchange had allowed her to understand Ye Xuan's general strength. Just as she was about to attack again, the door of the bamboo room suddenly opened. The ninth princess appeared. Baiken stopped. Ye Xuan was stunned. The ninth princess came to Ye Xuan's side and stood shoulder to shoulder with him. She looked coldly at Baiken. "You want to fight one against two?" Her hand rested on the hilt of the curved saber at her waist. The saber trembled slightly, releasing a strand of saber light. Baiken sneered. "You are only at the Skysword realm, yet you dared use an earth-rank martial technique. You must have suffered a severe backlash. Without 2 days, you cannot possibly recover. You are only pretending to be strong." After saying that, she rushed straight toward the two of them. She acted decisively and ruthlessly. Ye Xuan pushed off the ground and stabbed forward. Baiken used her bare hand to block the Lanxiu sword. Her hand was covered in a faint green glow. Ye Xuan twisted his wrist. The sword followed a strange angle and cut toward Baiken's wrist. But Baiken withdrew her hand as fast as lightning. Ye Xuan's sword did not stop. It swept diagonally, sword light flashed. Baiken took one step back and just barely avoided the strike. At the same time, a brilliant golden light came down toward the top of her head. Baiken's pupils shrank. She pressed both hands downward. A green light spread out from her body. The green light shattered when it collided with the golden light. In that instant, Baiken retreated 10 jang. She looked at the ninth princess with disbelief. "You still dare attack?" The ninth princess smiled faintly. "I am at least a descendant of the royal family. Do you think I have no life-preserving methods?" Baiken's brows furrowed briefly, then relaxed. She smiled. "Is that so? Then let me see how many times you can still attack." But the ninth princess had already taken the initiative. She bent her knees and leapt high into the air. Her hand tightened around the hilt of the golden saber at her waist. A towering pressure surged out. Earth-rank martial technique. Baiken's pupils shrank. In less than a breath, she immediately jumped back several jang and disappeared from Ye Xuan's and the ninth princess's sight. This clearly showed that she did not want to face this earth-rank martial technique head-on. She was not truly afraid of it, but if she really fought the ninth princess, the result would only be mutual injury. Then she would become prey for the many people waiting to take advantage. Seeing Baiken leave, the ninth princess lightly landed beside Ye Xuan, inside. Ye Xuan nodded and followed her in. The door had just closed when the ninth princess lost consciousness. Ye Xuan was startled and quickly caught her. He saw mouthfuls of bright red blood continuously spilling from the corner of her mouth. He hurriedly carried her to the bed and said in a low voice, almost angrily, "Do you really consider that martial technique more important than your own life?" The ninth princess weakly shook her head. "You do not understand." Ye Xuan said, "I only know that if this continues, you will die." The ninth princess looked at him. "Do you know what the current situation of Jiang Kingdom is like?" Ye Xuan fell silent. The ninth princess slowly closed her eyes. Great clans have risen everywhere inside the country, like bamboo shoots after rain. Every one of them places their family above all else. Their descendants know only their clans, not the nation. Above those great clans are two enormous powers, Drunken Immortal Tower and Kangmu Academy. They recruit the talents of the country without the slightest restraint. Among those who join those two forces, how many are truly willing to fight for the nation? At this point she opened her eyes and looked at Ye Xuan. "Do you know why Jiang Kingdom does not dare directly go to war with Tang Kingdom? Because our country is not of one heart. Once war breaks out, we cannot command those people. Once Jiang Kingdom is destroyed, Kangmu Academy and the descendants of those great clans may still be fine. But what about the countless ordinary people? Would the Academy, the clans, and Drunken Immortal Tower be willing to protect the common folk?" Ye Xuan let out a low sigh. Before he could speak, the ninth princess continued. "Drunken Immortal Tower controls most of the profitable industries in the country. It has nearly monopolized every trade. Because of that, the national treasury is almost always in deficit every year. As long as I obtain this earth-rank martial technique, the money from auctioning it can at least keep the national treasury full for 3 years." At this point, she shook her head gently. "The tens of thousands of soldiers under my command have not received their pay for 2 months." At this point, she shook her head gently. "The tens of thousands of soldiers under my command have not received their pay for 2 months. Ye Xuan looked at her. "So this is why you came here?" "What else would it be?" she asked coldly. Ye Xuan thought for a while, then said, "I know you have your own difficulties. But have you ever thought about this? As long as you are alive, there is still hope. Once you die, everything becomes empty talk." He glanced outside. "I am certain that woman has not truly left. Not only that, many more people are already on their way here." She also said that those great figures above are already staring at this martial technique with greedy eyes. Whoever holds it will become the target of every gaze. The ninth princess closed her eyes. "You should leave." Ye Xuan's brows tightened. He remained silent for a long while. Then his voice suddenly turned cold. "Hand over the high-grade, earth-rank martial technique." The ninth princess's eyes opened wide in disbelief. Ye Xuan's face grew even colder. "Hand it over." The ninth princess stared at Ye Xuan for a long time. Then she gave a self-mocking laugh. "It seems I still underestimated the temptation of an earth-rank martial technique. I also never expected that both she and I would misjudge someone." Her finger moved slightly. A smooth black scroll made from some unknown material appeared before Ye Xuan. He opened it and saw the words written on it. High-grade earth rank, Nirvana finger. He did not continue reading. He simply put the scroll away and left the bamboo room. The ninth princess watched him disappear from sight with cold eyes. A while later, she took out a stone as black as ink, gently crushed it, and poured a strand of profound energy into it. Then she slowly closed her eyes. Little N, do not trust this man. In a mountain range thousands of li away, a woman dressed entirely in snow white suddenly stopped. She took out a black stone from her robe. After staring at it for a long time, she suddenly turned around. "Miss, you already made an appointment to spar with the demon marshal." Someone called out from behind her. But the woman did not turn back. After leaving the bamboo room, Ye Xuan leapt onto the palace roof. He swept his eyes across the surroundings. then looked down at the scroll in his hand and suddenly burst into loud laughter. At last it has fallen into my hands. A moment later, he shot into the distance. That is the Earth rank martial technique. No one knew who shouted from the darkness. In an instant, countless figures immediately chased after Ye Xuan. The one leading them was none other than Baiken, apart from her. There were also the man and woman from earlier, both of whom possessed extraordinary strength. Strong enough that even Baiken had to be wary of them, Ye Xuan moved like the wind, in the blink of an eye. He had already rushed out of the Sword Lord's cave residence and plunged into the deep forest, while a group of people frantically pursued him from behind. At this moment, no one paid any attention to the 9th princess anymore. Every gaze had shifted toward Ye Xuan because of that martial technique. Ye Xuan not only did not slow down, he deliberately chose the most complicated and dangerous terrain to move through. The group led by Baiken could not catch up to him. Instead, the distance between them gradually widened. Even so, not a single person wanted to give up. They continued chasing him to the end. Ye Xuan was like a monkey in the forest, flickering in and out among the trees. Whenever he met someone he did not fight, he simply turned and ran. He kept running. He ran until night fell. Seeing the sky gradually darken, the corner of Ye Xuan's mouth lifted slightly. Because he had lived for so long in deep mountains and dense forests, when others could not see their fingers in front of their faces, he could still move through the darkness as easily as if it were daylight. The expressions of Baiken's group gradually became grave. Although most of them had also trained in the mountains before, none of them had gone through life and death struggles as often as Ye Xuan had. When they saw the sky darken, several people began to grow cautious. They were cautious not only of Ye Xuan, but also of the people beside them. After all, outside in the world, being stabbed in the back was as common as eating meals. In the darkness, Ye Xuan hid among the dense leaves of a tree. He gently stroked the small wooden doll of Ye Lion in his hand, a faint smile on his face. Big brother will be back soon. I am afraid that will not happen, a voice suddenly sounded. Ye Xuan narrowed his eyes and turned. Not far away stood Baiken along with the man and woman. His expression sank. How did you find me? Baiken's lips curled. Because we have people above while you have no one. Do you understand now? Ye Xuan was just about to reply. Then something strange happened. Smack. After a crisp slap rang out, Baiken suddenly flew more than 10 zhang away. She struggled to stand and 5 red finger marks now decorated her face. The others. Ye Xuan quickly came back to himself. He straightened his expression and shouted solemnly, I have people above me too, Baiken's group. The man and woman standing to Ye Xuan's left immediately became guarded and retreated several steps at the same time. They had not seen how Baiken had been struck. But anyone who could attack right in front of them without being noticed was definitely not someone they could resist. Baiken herself did not know why she had been sent flying, so her expression became extremely ugly. Who had attacked? Her cold gaze swept across the surroundings, but she discovered no one. In the end, her eyes stopped on Ye Xuan. Ye Xuan was calmly straightening his clothes, looking relaxed and unbothered. Did you really think only you people have someone above you? He raised one finger and shook it. No, I have someone too. Who wanders the outside world without a backer? You, smack, another slap sounded. Another person flew away. This time it was not Baiken, it was Ye Xuan. The other 3 were stunned. Ye Xuan was stunned as well, damn it. Do not tell me it hits whoever it dislikes. But even if it wanted to hit him, could it not wait until no one was around? How was he supposed to recover his dignity now? When Ye Xuan slowly climbed to his feet, a small handprint was now clearly visible on his cheek as well. The atmosphere gradually became strange. Ye Xuan coughed a few times. Not everyone leaves home to search for opportunity. Everyone. Can we sit down and talk slowly? Baiken suddenly interrupted him with a mocking smile. Is that what you were about to say? Ye Xuan replied seriously, I did not expect us to think the same way. Baiken shook her head and cut him off. Before, I always thought your head might not be normal. Now it seems I can remove the word thought. Suddenly she stopped speaking. because Ye Xuan had already turned and run away like a rabbit. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared into the night. Baikon's face twisted with anger. Too much nonsense. The man in the blackened white robe cast her a cold glance, then immediately rushed after Ye Xuan together with the woman beside him. Baikon narrowed her eyes. The corners of her mouth pulled into a cold curve, and she transformed into a streak of lightning, leaving destruction behind wherever she passed. In the darkness, Ye Xuan's legs moved madly. His brows were tightly furrowed as he thought about the information he had just extracted from Baikon. His movements were being exposed because someone above was constantly guiding Baikon's group. Someone was breaking the rules of the game. And the reason that person dared to do so was because Ye Xuan had no one behind him. If he had been An Lanxiu, those great figures above would absolutely not have dared to act in this way. Ye Xuan's right hand slowly clenched. He realized that he was facing an extremely serious problem. No matter where he hid, Baikon's group could find him. But if he did not hide, then alone he could not defeat the three of them. His brows remained tightly locked. Only after a long while did they gradually relax. He swept his gaze around and decided to head toward a small hillside. Before climbing the slope, he rolled once on the ground and secretly stuffed the martial technique beneath a pile of leaves, disguising it carefully. Following the momentum of his roll, he tumbled to the other side of the slope. Then he ran a little farther before stopping. About 5 breaths later, a white streak of lightning arrived. Baikon appeared. She was 3 or 4 beats faster than the man and woman. Seeing her arrive, Ye Xuan did not hesitate at all. He leapt straight toward her. A mocking curve appeared on Baikon's lips. She transformed into a phantom and arrived before him, then struck out with one palm. She had a true killing move prepared for later, so she did not use her full strength in this attack. But she never expected Ye Xuan to make no counterattack at all. He simply allowed the palm to land on his chest. Boom. He flew backward, slammed into a thick rough tree and collapsed to the ground like a puppet with its strings cut. Baikon frowned slightly. "What trick are you playing?" At that moment the man and woman arrived. They froze when they saw the scene before them. Ye Xuan suddenly sprang to his feet. Blood filled his mouth as he shouted at Baikon. "I already gave you the martial technique, yet you still insist on killing me." Baikon was stunned. The man and woman immediately turned to stare at her, their gazes full of hostility. Ye Xuan ignored the blood pouring from his mouth and continued accusing her. "You truly are a vicious woman. You promised to let me go if I handed over the martial technique, but now you want to kill me to silence me. Poisonous woman." Baikon narrowed her eyes fiercely. "What are you trying to do?" She pointed at the man and woman. "Do you think they will believe you?" The man and woman exchanged a glance, then looked fixedly at Ye Xuan. Ye Xuan did not hesitate. He immediately took off his outer robe, leaving himself wearing only his underpants. The sight made the woman in the blackened white dress frown. Ye Xuan pointed at himself. "Look carefully. I do not even have a single hair on me." Then he pointed at Baikon. "What about her? Does she dare let everyone inspect the ring on her hand? Does she dare?" After these words, the gazes of the man and woman shifted to Baikon. Or more precisely, to the ring on her finger. The killing intent in Baikon's eyes when she looked at Ye Xuan became obvious. "A dignified great sword cultivator, yet you are shameless to this extent. Why not change from sword cultivator to cheap cultivator?" As soon as she finished speaking, a terrifying aura surged out from her and pressed directly toward Ye Xuan. Ye Xuan's eyes narrowed. But the man and woman released their auras at the same time. In an instant, they shattered Baikon's pressure. Ye Xuan let out a breath of relief. Baikon glared angrily at the two of them. "Are you two pigs? You actually believe his ridiculous story. In any case, he is a sword cultivator. He should not lie." The man glanced at the blood constantly trickling from the corner of Ye Xuan's mouth, then looked at Baikon's hand. "If you want to prove whether it is true or false, just let us inspect your ring. Is that not enough?" Baikon's expression turned cold. For a martial artist, allowing others to inspect one's ring was a taboo. It was an excessive demand that no one could accept. Seeing Baikon's hand clench slightly, the man and woman immediately became guarded, ready to attack at any moment. Not far away, Ye Xuan shouted again. She is waiting for reinforcements from Kangmu Academy. I saw her send a distress signal. The people from Kangmu are coming soon. She is only stalling for time. The expressions of the man and woman turned cold. Reinforcements, stalling for time. A mysterious current of energy suddenly moved around them. If looks could kill, Ye Xuan would have died 100 times over under Baikon's gaze. Kill. At that moment, Ye Xuan roared and lunged toward Baiken. The man and woman hesitated for only a moment before attacking as well. The moment Ye Xuan faced Baiken, he was struck flying by her. Not only did he not fight back, he borrowed the force and rolled down the hillside. As he rolled, he conveniently picked up the martial technique hidden beneath the leaves and continued rolling until he disappeared. Behind him, the sounds of battle began to erupt. Ye Xuan did not look back. He ran madly toward Two Realms City. Not long after he fled, Baiken retreated and pulled some distance away from the man and woman. Then she shouted coldly, "You idiots, look behind you." The two of them exchanged a glance, then looked toward the sky behind them. Their expressions instantly became very ugly. They had been fooled. Those above had not been paying attention to Ye Xuan, so they had not been able to notify them in time. Although only a few short seconds had passed, those seconds were enough for Ye Xuan to run very far. Baiken looked in a certain direction. A sword cultivator who can be shameless to this degree. He has truly broadened my horizons. The man said coldly, "Do not worry, he cannot escape. That high-grade Earth-rank martial technique will belong to my Ning Kingdom. Ning Kingdom." Baiken glanced at him, then turned and left. Ning Kingdom, Jiang Kingdom, Tang Kingdom. To a genius like Baiken, these names held no real meaning. Because one day they would step into a far better place. At the wall of Two Realm City, the 9th princess leaned against the stone, arms folded, lost in thought. Suddenly, she raised her head. She saw a woman dressed in snow white walking toward her. It was none other than An Lanxiu. An Lanxiu looked toward the distant mountain range. Before the 9th princess could speak, she said, "You misjudged him." Seeing her close friend frown, An Lanxiu continued, "He is not that kind of person." The 9th princess said in a low voice, "No one can remain unmoved before a high-grade Earth-rank martial technique." And Lanxiu only smiled. I trust him. And Lanxiu's words were very soft, but they were also very firm. The 9th princess leaned against the wall and asked softly, "Little Anne, do you want to make a bet?" And Lanxiu turned to look at the 9th princess. The 9th princess smiled. "We bet that he is not that kind of person." "If he is that kind of person, then Little Anne, you stay here for 1 more year. Leave only after a year." And Lanxiu asked in return, "And if he is not?" The 9th princess smiled. "Then I wronged him. I am willing to apologize to him, and I will also give him my golden saber." "Give him the golden saber." And Lanxiu was slightly stunned. The 9th princess smiled mischievously. "What is it? Do not tell me you are jealous." And Lanxiu turned her head and looked toward the distant depths of the mountains. "I do not put vinegar in my food," the 9th princess. Deep within the mountains, Ye Xuan was still running at full speed. His current target was Two Realms City, because that place was the main base of Jiang Kingdom. Once he reached it, those great figures above would definitely not dare openly break the rules of the game anymore. Before long, he arrived at a dense forest. Once he passed through this forest, he would be able to see Two Realms City. The corner of Ye Xuan's mouth lifted slightly, and he increased his speed. But at that moment, a middle-aged man suddenly appeared before him. Ye Xuan stopped. The middle-aged man wore an elegant white robe. His long hair fell over his shoulders, and his right hand was held behind his back. He simply looked at Ye Xuan. "Hand that thing over and I will spare your life." Ye Xuan's face sank. The man before him was definitely one of the great figures above. Clearly, for the sake of this Earth-rank martial technique, the other party was ready to disregard everything. Ye Xuan slowly clenched his right hand. The man in the distance smiled mockingly. "You want to attack?" Ye Xuan said softly, "Even if I give it to you, you still will not let me go. You will kill me to silence me, will you not?" The middle-aged man laughed softly. "You are clever. But even if you do not hand it over, can I not simply kill you and take it?" After saying that, he was about to attack, but Ye Xuan suddenly smiled. "Do you really think I would carry that thing on me?" Hearing this, the middle-aged man frowned. "It seems I underestimated your intelligence, but no matter. Once I capture you, I will have ways to make you tell me where it is." As soon as he finished speaking, he took one step forward. The ground before him immediately split open, and the crack extended toward Ye Xuan at terrifying speed. Ye Xuan's expression changed completely. He did not dare be careless and threw a punch. This punch could be said to contain all his strength. Because the middle-aged man before him was at least a nether passage realm expert. Facing such an expert, he naturally did not dare underestimate him. With that punch, powerful fist force and battle intent shook the surroundings. Boom. A loud explosion rang out, and Ye Xuan was blasted several dozen zhang away. He slowly climbed up from the ground. His entire right arm had been completely shattered. The middle-aged man in the distance narrowed his eyes. "What a strong body. You actually managed to withstand one strike from me. It seems I did underestimate you somewhat." After saying that, he lightly stomped his right foot. A rock the size of a fist suddenly rose into the air, then shot toward Ye Xuan like an arrow leaving the bow. It was extremely fast, cutting through the air. Opposite the middle-aged man, Ye Xuan narrowed his eyes. He opened his palm and a sword appeared. In the next second, sword light flashed. A sword cry rang out. The rock was cut in two by the sword light. In the blink of an eye, the sword light had arrived before the middle-aged man. The man laughed lightly and waved his sleeve. Boom. The sword light exploded instantly, and Ye Xuan was sent flying several dozen zhang away. The middle-aged man narrowed his eyes. As expected, sword and martial dual cultivation. After saying this, he looked around. It seems there truly is no one behind you. Otherwise, after everything that has happened until now, they would not have remained silent. He slowly walked toward Ye Xuan. The reason he had not attacked carelessly before was clearly because he had been wary. He did not know whether Ye Xuan had someone behind him. Normally, any monstrous genius who came here would have a force behind them. But even now, when Ye Xuan had already reached a dead end, there had still been no movement behind him. This made the man certain that the person before him was most likely a wandering cultivator. If Ye Xuan was a wandering cultivator, then he naturally had nothing to fear. In the distance, Ye Xuan stared fixedly at the middle-aged man. The man drew closer and closer. When he was only a few zhang away, Ye Xuan suddenly leapt forward. Seeing that Ye Xuan still wanted to attack, the middle-aged man smiled mockingly. Ye Xuan was only in the Kai Change realm. The gap between them was two full major realms. How could he possibly be this man's opponent? Because of this thought, the middle-aged man became slightly careless. This was normal. After all, the difference between their realms was truly too great. But at that moment, another sword suddenly appeared in Ye Xuan's left hand. His two hands came together, and the two swords fused into one. The moment the two swords fused, Ye Xuan's hands split open and fresh blood flowed out. Two swords became one. In an instant, their grade rose to a bright sword. At this moment, Ye Xuan appeared. One sword decides life and death. This sword strike had completely surpassed the strength Ye Xuan should have possessed at his current realm. The moment Ye Xuan drew his sword, the middle-aged man's eyes opened wide. How is this possible? The power of this sword strike had completely exceeded his imagination. The middle-aged man had no time to think. His right hand turned slightly, then swept upward. A vortex appeared in his palm and instantly swallowed Ye Xuan's sword strike. The surroundings fell silent for a moment. Boom. The vortex of air shattered with a thunderous crash. The middle-aged man was forced back more than 20 zhang. The moment he stopped, the entire sleeve on his right arm was already torn apart. At this moment, his right arm was covered in cracks like a spiderweb. Fresh blood constantly flowed out from the small cracks. The middle-aged man looked at his arm, then looked at Ye Xuan not far away. For the first time, seriousness appeared in his eyes. Bright sword. What a domineering sword technique. At this moment, he felt a lingering fear. Because if the young man before him had been one realm higher, that sword just now might truly have taken his life. That sword had been genuinely terrifying. Even now, thinking back on it still made his heart tremble. In the distance, Ye Xuan slowly closed his eyes, still not enough. The difference in realm was still too great. Right now, challenging an opponent 2 major realms above him was impossible. Unless he reached the Skysoar realm. Once he reached the Skysoar realm, he would be able to fight this man. But what could he do now? Fight? He could not win. Run. He definitely could not escape. Call someone? Who could he call? Ye Xuan's thoughts raced. Before long, his eyes lit up. He looked coldly at the middle-aged man. I advise you to retreat right now. Otherwise, when the time comes, even if you want to leave, you will not be able to. The man's lips curled. You want to tell me that you have someone behind you, correct? Ye Xuan replied seriously, of course. I am telling you, inside my body there is an extremely powerful great god. A great god. The middle-aged man laughed softly. Inside your body. Young man, do not tell me you were beaten until your brain was damaged. After saying this, he slowly walked toward Ye Xuan. If there truly is a great god, then invite it out and let me see. His right hand, hidden behind his back, was surrounded by green light. Under that green light, his right hand was gradually healing. He knew Ye Xuan was stalling for time. But he was also stalling for time. One had to know that there were still some experts here who were not weaker than him. He had to maintain his condition at its best. Otherwise, if others discovered that he was injured, even he could not guarantee that nothing would happen. Ye Xuan slowly retreated. You are too weak, the great god is not interested in you. The middle-aged man sneered, not interested in me, ridiculous. I think this so-called great god of yours is afraid and does not dare come out. At that moment smack, a loud slap rang out. The middle-aged man flew straight away. Seeing this, Ye Xuan's eyes widened, then he turned and ran. Behind him, the middle-aged man climbed to his feet. On his right cheek was a small red claw mark. The middle-aged man touched his face, his expression blank. Who hit me? He looked all around him but discovered no one. His expression gradually became heavy. He looked around cautiously. Which senior is here? No one answered. By then, Ye Xuan had already run out of the forest. The middle-aged man was still on guard, watching the surroundings. After running out of the forest, Ye Xuan saw 2 realm city. He increased his speed. Blood kept flowing from the corner of his mouth. Not only that, both of his arms were also bleeding continuously. In addition, the wounds on his chest that had already begun to close had torn open again. Blood poured out, quickly dyeing the front of his clothes red. He was heavily injured. The battle with the middle-aged man had left him badly wounded. In the end, he had even forcibly fused the 2 swords and used one sword decides life and death, making his injuries even worse. It could be said that if he had not cultivated to the golden body realm, making his body and internal organs unusually tough, he would already have been finished. Before the gate of 2 realm city, the woman in white suddenly raised her head and looked into the distance. When she saw that miserable figure, her hand trembled slightly. Behind the woman in white, the 9th princess also raised her head and looked toward that distant figure. She froze. Ye Xuan quickly ran before them. When he saw the woman in white, he froze. A second later, he casually threw something. The high-grade earth-rank martial technique was tossed in front of the 9th princess like trash. Then he slowly walked to the woman in white and grinned. Why did you come here? He had only just finished speaking when blood flowed from his mouth. Then he collapsed. The woman in white instinctively caught Ye Xuan. Ye Xuan fell into her arms, so soft. Instinctively, he wrapped his arms around the woman in white's waist and buried his head against her chest. The woman in white's body stiffened. But she did not push Ye Xuan away. In a certain corner of the city wall, an old man stamped his foot anxiously. Miss, push him away, push that bastard away. But the woman in white still did not push Ye Xuan away.